For years, I was the family's scapegoat. My father would laugh after I'd covered the cost of every holiday gathering. Finally, I reached my limit. I bought a sprawling estate without telling them and made it clear they weren't welcome. Every holiday, I steeled myself for their sharp remarks. The barbs came with fake smiles and raised glasses. "You're always such a disappointment," my dad would chuckle, nudging my brother like I was the butt of an inside joke. My mother never stepped in. "Just don't be so strange this time, okay?" she'd say. I'd force a grin, nod, and haul chairs from the garage or set the table, feeling like a prop in my own existence. I'm Nathan, 34. For most of my life, I played the role they cast me in, the quiet, eccentric one. I wasn't like my brother Caleb, scaling corporate heights, or my sister Rachel, always beaming about her new baby. I spent my 20s hopping between jobs, freelancing, launching small ventures, and running businesses they didn't understand. But it paid off. I never boasted about my success. When I developed apps for local shops, they called it a weird hobby. When I began consulting for tech firms, they smirked, asking when I'd get a real job. Even after I started a software company that soared during the pandemic, they mocked me when I mentioned hiring staff. Hiring? What, like a buddy to edit your website? Caleb taunted over Christmas dinner as Dad sliced the roast like he was performing for an audience. So, I stopped sharing my work. It wasn't worth the fight. No matter what I achieved, I remained the family's misfit, the one they were ashamed of. The tipping point wasn't loud or explosive. It was Rachel's 37th birthday last year. Mom booked a vineyard for the celebration. There were fancy hors d'oeuvres, a string quartet, and a slideshow of Rachel's triumphs, childhood snapshots, her university diploma, even a photo of her waving her first paycheck. During the toasts, Caleb lifted his glass and said, to Rachel, "Proof that dedication wins." Everyone laughed. Aunt Clara cheered, then Mom added, "And to Nathan, for keeping us on our toes." More laughter. My hands shook around my flute of champagne. That night, I stayed to help clean, not for them, but because the catering crew looked worn out. As I stacked chairs into the truck, Caleb sauntered by, grinning. Still the grunt, eh, he muttered, just loud enough for me to hear, but quiet enough to dodge blame. I didn't answer. I finished, drove home in silence, but that quiet wasn't defeat. It was resolve. I'd been saving diligently for years. Tech work can be unsteady, but I'd been smart, cutting costs, investing carefully, and building systems to run efficiently. That spring, I purchased a breathtaking modern home in an elite gated enclave on a hillside. It had towering glass walls, state-of-the-art systems, and a backyard that left agents speechless. It was my haven. My family didn't know. Not because I hid it, but because they never bothered to ask. I signed the papers, settled in, and, for the first time, did something entirely for myself. I hosted a grand opening party. A lavish event. I invited dear friends, trusted past clients, and encouraging colleagues. Not a single family member was invited. When someone suggested a brunch that weekend, I said I was busy. I kept the party's Facebook event private, but not hidden. That was intentional. The evening was enchanting. Twinkling lights glowed over the patio. The scent of gourmet dishes wafted through the air. Laughter filled every inch of my home. People who valued me, not just a silhouette. There was music, sincere toasts, and even some karaoke by the fire pit. I took photos with everyone, smiled next to a champagne tower, and gave a short speech at my mentor's urging. My friend Laura shared a photo of me on the balcony, arms raised, city lights shimmering behind me, captioned, "From outcast to titan." So proud of you, Nathan. That post ignited the storm. The next morning, my phone was swamped with missed calls. 10 from Mom, 5 from Caleb, 3 from Rachel, and 1 from an unfamiliar number, Aunt Clara. My Facebook was a whirlwind. Though I rarely posted, I was tagged in pictures, stories, and a clip of me cutting a ribbon at my front door with giant scissors. I hadn't shared anything myself, but I didn't conceal it either. The comments were uplifting. "Nathan, your place is unreal. When did this happen? You earned this. Congrats, I'm tearing up." But tucked among the support were stings. "Why weren't we invited?" from my cousin Emily. Rachel wrote, "Your family should have been there. This hurts." Mom's was cutting. "Some people forget who raised them." Even Caleb chimed in, "So the hobby paid off? Could have told us." I didn't reply. Not to the comments, voicemails, or Mom's lengthy text claiming I'd shamed the family and made them feel like strangers. That word, shamed, stuck. I stared at it, then erased her message. But it didn't stop. 2 days later, Caleb appeared at my gate, hammering the intercom like we were still pals. I didn't open it right away. I stood in my kitchen, coffee in hand, watching him on the security monitor. He looked annoyed, dressed in his work clothes, crisp shirt, shiny watch, and that familiar lecturing face. He buzzed again. Nathan, I'm not here to argue. Just open up. I didn't respond. I waited. On the third buzz, he pulled out his phone. My screen flashed. Nathan, open the gate. I'm not leaving until we talk. I waited another minute, sighed, and hit the button. He drove up slowly, eyeing the property like he couldn't fathom it. He parked in the flawless driveway, stepped out, and approached the door without speaking. I opened it before he could knock. He stood there, arms crossed. So this is real, he said. I leaned against the frame. Yeah. Why didn't you tell us, he asked. I gave a wry laugh. When's the last time you cared about my life, Caleb? He rolled his eyes. Come on, we're family. You called my work a joke, I fired back. You treated me like the guy who just carries stuff. Every holiday, you made it clear I was the family's loser. He raised a hand. That's not true. It's exactly true, I said, sharper. You all did it. You thought the digs were hilarious, but they weren't. Year after year, they wore me down until I stopped opening up. For a moment, he looked unsure, at a loss. He glanced inside the house. This place is insane, he muttered. Must have cost a fortune. I stayed quiet. He was probing, trying to measure my success without them. I'm not here to fight, he said again. But Mom's really upset. So's Rachel. You made them look bad. I nearly laughed. Made them look bad? You've called me the embarrassment for years, but now that I do something big without you, I'm the bad guy? Caleb shifted, uneasy. She cried, you know. Mom, when she saw the pictures. She also cried when I quit grad school, I replied. Said I'd be nothing. Maybe she just doesn't like surprises. He looked away. Look, I'm not saying we were saints. You were cruel, Caleb. All of you. And you didn't even see it. Silence stretched between us. He cleared his throat. So what now? You're just cutting us off, acting like we're nothing? I met his eyes. The same brother who shoved me out of family photos. Who said at Christmas I was lucky to even be there? Now you're at my door, expecting a welcome. I'm not pretending anything, I said evenly. I'm just choosing who gets to be in my life. His expression hardened. So this is your revenge? This isn't payback, I said quietly. This is freedom. Another pause. He turned to leave, but stopped by his car. You're still bitter, he said. Even a mansion can't fix that. I didn't move. And you're still smug. Parties won't change that either. He drove away. Later, I got a text from Emily with a screenshot of a group chat I wasn't in. Mom wrote, I don't know why he's acting this way. We raised him, didn't we? Maybe he just likes making us look silly. Rachel replied, he's always been strange. Caleb added, let him have his moment. It won't last. That last line struck me. It won't last. They still didn't believe this was real. To them, my success was a stroke of luck. They couldn't admit they'd misjudged me, because that would mean they were wrong all along. So I made a choice. No arguments. No retaliation. I just keep moving forward and make sure they saw it. The next day, I agreed to appear on a prominent tech podcast. That week, I signed with a top agency to expand my consulting into a full-scale operation. I updated my LinkedIn with party photos, nothing flashy, just enough to show I was thriving. I didn't care if they approved. I just wanted them to know they weren't my center anymore. Then things changed. 3 days later, Mom sent something, not a text or comment, but a letter delivered by courier. It was a thick cream envelope, like for a formal occasion. I nearly tossed it aside, like so much I couldn't face. But curiosity won. Inside were 5 handwritten pages on her favorite line stationery, her handwriting unchanged since my childhood. Neat curls, bold underlines for emphasis. It started abruptly. I don't know where to begin. I sat back, muted my phone, and let my coffee go cold. She wrote about feeling hurt, confused, blindsided that I'd moved into a spectacular home without a word. She said the Facebook photos and kind words from strangers made it feel like I'd erased her. By page 2, her tone shifted. You've always been dramatic, Nathan. Remember how you'd sulk in your room as a kid if we teased you, even if it was just playful? We're family. Families rib each other sometimes. It keeps us humble. My chest tightened. This wasn't an apology. It was rewriting history, turning years of cruelty into harmless joking, pain into tough love. Every line screamed, you're the problem, Nathan. You're too sensitive. Page 3 was justifications. Caleb didn't mean it when he said I'd fail. Rachel always respected my independence. Dad wasn't harsh, just old-fashioned, unfamiliar with modern careers. She underlined traditional. By page 4, she moved to requests. Let's move past this. How about a family dinner? We could make it special, all of us together. Then the real motive. Emily mentioned your business is thriving. That's amazing. Maybe we could meet and talk about supporting each other, financially or otherwise. We've had some tough times you could help with. I stopped there, the letter heavy in my lap. I knew the rest. We miss you. You're still family. Call us soon. I walked to the window. The party lights still hung outside. Memories of laughter, of people celebrating me, lingered. This wasn't about rebuilding ties. It was about control. For once, they didn't define my role. I wasn't Nathan the helper, the oddball, the embarrassment. I was Nathan, self-made, and they couldn't stand it. I picked up the letter again, the final page. We'd love to visit, maybe bring some wine, take photos, show everyone how proud we are. Your dad would like that. My jaw clenched. Not let's reconnect, but let's perform. Let's show off now that it suits us. That night, I didn't respond. I scanned the letter, saved it digitally, then lit a fire outside. Sipping a drink, I watched the pages burn, curling into ash. 2 days later, Rachel tagged me in a Facebook post. A family dinner photo. All smiles, captioned, some forget their roots, but we know what true love is. Comments flooded in. Aunt Clara, family first, always. Caleb, no egos here, just ties. Mom, exactly. Then, buried low, a high school friend commented, didn't Nathan just host a party? Where were you guys? It was deleted minutes later. I didn't respond. I didn't post. I watched, knowing a bigger moment was coming, one they'd see. I didn't reply to Rachel's post or text anyone. I let them pretend nothing had changed, that I still orbited them. But while they played their game, I got to work. A month earlier, a local magazine had offered to profile me as an emerging entrepreneur. My tech work. My journey. I turned it down then, wary of attention. Now, I called them back. We scheduled the interview for the next week. I didn't dress up or prepare. I just spoke honestly about years of freelancing, sleepless nights, building from nothing, and being dismissed by those who only valued one kind of success. I didn't name my family, but their presence lingered in my hesitations, my silences. The article ran with the headline, From Failure to Founder, How One Local Reject Built a Seven-Figure Empire. It featured a photo of me on my balcony, city lights glowing. The caption, Nathan Reed, 34, says he never fit in and finally stopped trying. I shared it on LinkedIn, tagged the magazine, and let it spread. The response was immediate. Clients messaged. Recruiters reached out. Old classmates wrote, congrats. My college professor commented, you always had promise, Nathan. Your final project was brilliant. But the real moment came 3 days later. Dad texted, saw the article. Nice place. Would have been good to be included. Let us know when we can stop by. I didn't reply. Mom called 3 times the next day. I didn't pick up. Rachel texted, can we talk? Just us? I agreed to meet at a cafe near our old neighborhood, Neutral Ground. She was there when I arrived, stirring her latte, searching the phone for strength. Hey, she said softly. I sat across from her. Hey. We sat in silence until she exhaled and said, I know we were terrible. I won't pretend we weren't. We didn't respect you, and that was wrong. I nodded, letting her go on. I think it was partly envy, maybe fear. You didn't follow the usual path. No grad school, no marriage, no perfect online life. When it worked out anyway, it shook us. I hadn't expected that honesty. But Nathan, she continued, cutting us out like that. The party. The photos. The article. It made us look like outsiders. I leaned forward. That's because you are. You stopped being my people years ago. I never had the courage to say how much it hurt when you mocked me, sidelined me, treated me like a mascot instead of family. You pushed me away. Her jaw tightened. So that's it? We're just done? No, I said. But it's different now. I'm not begging for your approval anymore. I'm not handing out free passes to people who question my worth. Her eyes shimmered, but she didn't argue. Okay, she said quietly. I get it. We talked for 20 more minutes. Not warm, but honest. More than I'd gotten in years. She didn't ask for money or to see the house. She just asked, can I try to do better? I said, yes. But I meant, we'll see. Then came the pushback. 2 weeks later, Dad tried to organize a family dinner, just the 5 of us. I declined politely, saying I was swamped with work. True, as I was preparing for a tech conference in Seattle. The next day, Caleb left a voicemail. Think you're better than us now because you got lucky? You're still the same awkward loser, Nathan. Money doesn't buy respect. It just builds walls. He was right about the walls. I was still quiet, introspective, a bit clumsy, but I wasn't weak anymore. I didn't need their validation to exist. That weekend, I hosted another gathering. Small, just close friends, mentors, and one guest, Rachel. She arrived with wine and a hesitant smile. I showed her the house, watching her eyes widen at each room. You really did this, she kept saying. You made it happen? I smiled, no bitterness. Yeah, I did. Rachel seemed different that night. Quieter, more reflective. She lingered in my office, studying the whiteboard of ideas, the awards, the framed articles. While clearing dishes, she said, this is the first time I've seen you as the star of your own story. I laughed softly. That's because I stopped waiting for permission. When she left, she hugged me. Not the stiff, obligatory kind, but something warmer, real. I didn't feel drained. I felt free. That night, I checked my email. 3 from Mom, 1 from Dad. I didn't open them. But there was also one from a podcast team, inviting me to an episode, The Power of Being Overlooked. I said yes. When it aired, I added an unscripted line. Sometimes the best revenge is proving them wrong. It's building a life so full that their opinions don't matter, not because you erase them, but because you outgrow them. I named no names. I didn't need to. They heard it. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a failure.